All right. Okay. I believe what, episode 5, right? 5, I believe we're on. I don't even remember. All right, first of all, we need to get the game captured. So don't know how that just happened. Okay. Let's do this again. We're on episode number 6, guys. Wow. Whoa.
Charles the Fourth.
All right, we don't have to read this because we've heard this several times. Let's just get into the game and get started already with our episode here, guys. Let's continue it up. Drink some of that H2O. All right.
Dead. Fucking bastards.
Wait, what's wrong with my character? Is he falling asleep or something? All right, guys, so we're back where we left off. I believe this is what we were doing here. Just mirror like the field of view feels weird in this game. It does feel weird, right? I'm not really sure. I don't want to do that. Let's get this launched up real quick. I forgot about this one. Me? Oh, I did nothing. Oh, I wish it was me. That would have just been like an epic scene. So I get to this town and somebody butchered these horses. Like literally, I guess they intentionally sliced the horses open like this. And the horses were being tortured and the townspeople had to take them out of their misery. Oh my god. Why are these headphones giving me a headache? What was our objective again? I don't remember. Quest. I must find Mark Vort. You can climb inside them for warmth, right? Be like a little pouch of a kangaroo. Oh yeah. We're doing a main quest, right? Find the missing stable boy. Question the charcoal burners in the south. Alright, so that's what we need to do then. We need to hurry up and open up the map. Let's zoom out. So we're gonna go down south, right there. So once we go to the charcoal burners, we'll be able to understand exactly what's going on here, guys. Let's go pay those guys a visit. So we're gonna stay alongside where the water is. You know, I still don't like that B is run. Oh, wait, one of these are my horses. Which one is it? Not that one. Not that one. Pebbles. Yay, this is my horse. Finally, we get a horse in this game. We were without a horse for a while, guys. All right, we're gonna go ahead and head on south. But where's that water stream? I think it's here to my left. So we're going back the way we came? Wow, this horse can't even jump around that. All right, let's dash it up a bit, guys, so we can go faster. Look, we got another dead horse right here. Look at that. All right, let's get out to the side here. Those cows just teleported out of nowhere. Wow, beautiful flowers. Kind of remind me of like Big Boss. It reminds me of that scene for sure. We got a random campfire or something there. All right, so we should be finding the river seam here somewhere. Hopefully, pretty soon. We'll see what's going on. Did I just run into another animal? Why are these things just like in the middle of nowhere? So what are you gonna do with Decoy Panda though, projectile sausage? I'm kind of curious. What are you gonna do with it? Let's go across here while we can. I'm just happy we have a horse. Oh gosh. Well, since we don't have Red Dead Redemption, this is the closest we're gonna get to playing a horse game right now. We're not in the Wild West, but we're in the times of the Knights. Hello, how are you? Keep it as a second channel? Okay. Yeah, I don't blame you, bro. Sometimes a new start can be good for people, but honestly, bro, personally, I don't think it's a good idea. What I would do, there's ways to go about with that, but I'm sure you know what you need to do. Oh, I just so went the wrong way, guys. They're gonna be right over here. I think it's this little village right here. There they are. All right, we see something burning over here. Let's go ahead and find out and see what's going on, because we found that piece of evidence, and then now we know we need to go here. We found a camp. How do I get off my horse? Oh, never mind. So what's going on here?
Good day to you. What do you need?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a good reason to start over, though, Projectile Sausage. Like, I mean, you've seen our player base. I mean, player base. Wow, I feel like I'm like, well, we are a gaming community, but yeah, like our viewership went down. You have to understand, like, it's gonna be harder to get viewers now because there's just way too many broadcasters. It's not like it used to be. Like I said, back in 2014, 15, not everybody went live. You know what I'm saying? Going live is like a thing for everybody now. Honestly, if you really want to get somewhere and get that viewership, just do just chatting, bro. Don't even like play video games. Like just do just chatting, go live, do your little intermissions, talk to the stream, do just chatting again, and whatever. I mean, that's really the best way to do it, is the interaction. It's not so much the gaming content anymore. I know Justin TV was like a just chatting IRL type thing, and they switched to gaming because gaming was doing great at one point. But you'll notice that they added cooking, creative, just chatting, IRL, and cooking, art, and all that stuff. Like, that's what people are doing now. It's not just games anymore, you know. All right.
I'm looking for a ginger-haired boy. I hear he's friends with some charcoal burners.
We ain't friends with no redhead.
He works as a stable boy in the stud farm.
I know where that is, but I don't know no one from there. Take care now.
Oh wow, nah, he's defending something, guys. I don't trust you guys.
What do you want? Jesus Christ be praised.
I'm looking for a ginger-haired boy. I hear he's friends with some charcoal burners.
We ain't friends with no redhead.
He works as a stable boy in the stud farm.
I know where that is, but I don't know no one from there. Take
Yeah,
care now.
these guys are saying the same thing. What about this guy over here?
God be with you.
Could you help me?
Depends what you want, doesn't it?
I'm looking for Ginger, a stable boy from Neuhof. They say he ran away and joined up with some charcoal burners he used to hang around with sometimes.
Sorry, there's never been a lad called Ginger around here. You have to try somewhere else.
I hope you're not lying to me. The boy is a witness to a murder. Where else might he have gone?
A murder's been committed at Neuhof, and that boy likely knows who did it. It's vital I find him.
There's been murder aplenty in these parts of late, but that Ginger lad really hasn't been here.
There'll be a lot less murdering going on once I bring those bastards to justice, so how about helping me out?
Calm down, lad, for the love of God. There's been no one like the boy you want round here. But then again, there are other charcoal burners. Try them. You might want to hurry. You're not the first to be asking about him, and the others weren't exactly a noble-looking bunch, although they were generous with their silver.
They didn't happen to say what they wanted him for?
No, but they definitely didn't look like they wanted to invite him to a feast.
Oh boy.
Do you have any idea where else he could have gone?
You said he was friends with the charcoal burners? Well, You'll definitely find some in the forest between Neuhof and Uzets. There's good spots around there.
But that forest is huge. I could spend weeks searching.
Then follow the river. That's how you found us, isn't it? Where there's charcoal burners, there's always...
Awesome. We're playing Kingdom Come.
All right.
Questions to the northern charcoal burners. All right, so we're gonna have to check another camp here. No problem, Projectile. Yeah, it's all good, bro. Appreciate it. Well, speaking of that, I'm always in your Decoy Panda channel, so now I'm gonna have to get inside this one. Okay, so this was useless pretty much. We came here for nothing. Wow, I gotta go way up there. But you know what though? We're unlocking new areas. I can fast travel here. But I will lose my horse though. Hold on, I think. Or can I just whistle for it? Yeah, Damascus son, how are you? Okay, let's go ahead and try to fast travel real quick. Oh yeah, doing that makes us hungry and everything. Look at that.
Who's there? Hey, who's there?
What's the watchman? I gotta make sure we get our nice little beautiful torch out, guys, because if not, the townspeople go a little crazy about that. So we don't really want to be doing that too much. Alright, so where are we headed? Still kind of a long walk, but I don't think we have a choice here in this matter.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna go ahead and continue on northbound. See what we find here. We're gonna stay on the road here too, guys, just to be safe.
Hey, can you help me? I need some help finding my way.
I don't know if I trust this guy.
Hey, can you help me? I need some help finding my way. Hey, I need some directions.
Oh, I hope I'm ready for a fight. What happened to my sword? There we go. We're ready,
Hey,
just in
can you
case.
help me? I need some help finding my way.
Oh, he's a traitor.
Jesus Christ be praised.
Maybe he won't attack us. Where are you headed?
To Ushitz. I have to see the bailiff.
Head north through the woods. Head east past the inn. Give me a moment. I'll look around. To Ulitz?
I'm a little lost myself, actually. Give me a moment to look around and figure out where we are.
Thanks. Take care now.
Okay, he needs to go to Ulitz. So where the heck is that at? That's Skalitz. Ulitz? I don't think I've ever been there, so I can't tell him where it is. Well, that's the DLC quest. Oh, okay.
Where are you going?
To Ushitz. I have to see the bailiff.
Head east past the end, head north through the woods.
Take the road to the east. You'll pass the inn. Can't miss it.
Ah, thank you very much. Been a pleasure.
I so just set them the wrong way. Whoa, okay. Whatever. What am I gonna do, guys? What's up, JBs? How are you, bro? Let's get our light back out again, guys, and let's get going. We're gonna continue on northbound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I never been to that town, so I have no idea. No idea where it is, guys. Kingdom Come. Yeah, I know. I'm happy. They gave it to me for helping them out.
Really?
Oh yeah, I can't steal a horse because then I'll get in trouble. Why do I feel like this camp doesn't feel too friendly? Is this where I need to be? Oh, they're all sleeping. Alright, I need these guys to wake up then.
No, clear off. Let me sleep. Why are you waking me? Go away. No.
These guys want to sleep. They're not going to let me wake up for nothing. Okay, well, since it's nighttime and all, we're going to have to wait a couple hours, guys. Here we go. So that's gonna make my cart. Alright, these guys should be waking up now. Seriously?
Clear off. Let me sleep.
Why are you guys not awake yet? I don't think these guys want to wake up anytime soon. Alright, there they go. They're waking up.
Why are you waking me?
Wait 1 hour. There you go.
I'll be with you.
Alright, we're
looking
looking.
for Ginger from Neuhof. Do you know anything about him?
I know him. What do you want of him?
There's a few questions I need to ask him.
Well, you'll have to go somewhere else to find him. He doesn't come here much.
Huh. Who does he go see? Are you hiding him here? If I find him here, there'll be hell to pay. That boy is a witness to a murder. How about some coin? I ain't paying you no coin. Let's take a look here. We're gonna do 6.
If you're hiding in here, please reconsider. It's Sir Radzig who sent me to find him. That boy's testimony could help stop more bloodshed.
I understand the urgency, lad, but really, he doesn't come here. He's friends with some of the boys over by Townburg.
And where can I find them?
Head west along the river and you'll run into them. Oh, and another thing you might like to know. Other people have been sniffing around here for him. Nasty fellas.
Where did they go? What did they look like?
Oh, they headed off to the west. But that doesn't mean anything. And they look... Well, one of them came here and asked a lot of questions. And the other one stood off at a distance, scowling. Dressed like murderers, the pair of them. I'll be with you.
Huh. Well, that's not good. Here we go, guys. We're on a wild quest here. So we're going that way? So we're just gonna go west a little bit. So we gotta go to A. Not too far, which is good. Stay on this nice little beautiful trail here. Oh yeah, having a horse is so much faster to travel in this game, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I have one. We need to be careful, because we don't know what this other group is that's looking for him. Man, there's a lot of twists and turns here. Okay, I think we're here. Oh, the horse automatically stays on the trail? I didn't know that. Okay, here's the other camp, guys. See if we find him.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I'm looking for Ginger, a stable boy from Neuhof. Do you know where I might find him?
Well, if you go south from here, you'll come across Old Andrew's Inn on the road. If you go along the road from there to the east, you'll reach Neuhof.
I know where Neuhof is. The boy isn't there.
Ah, I see. I can't help you then. I've never noticed anyone of that description around here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so that's out of the question. Let's end that dialogue.
Over you.
My respects to you.
I'm looking for Ginger from Neuhof. Was he here by any chance?
Ginger, you say? Would he be a red-haired fellow?
Yes, have you seen him?
Let me see now. There was a stranger around here. He didn't have red hair, though, so it wouldn't be him.
Great, thanks.
Okay, that's out of the question.
Good day to you.
Do you know where I can find Ginger, a stable boy from Neuhof?
Why don't you try Neuhof?
He was there, but now everyone says he's hiding with some charcoal burner friends of his.
Ah. Well, I can't help you there. I've heard nothing about it. Or him. Farewell.
Huh. Something's wrong with these guys. They're all giving me different answers. Yo, Dragon, what's going on, bro? Wait, they do? Ah, that's smart. That's actually very smart. Remember that was the thing that people complained about with Flexer. Remember that?
Come here. I know something.
I don't know if I trust this guy.
My respects to you, sir.
How are you, Dragon?
You know something about Ginger?
I might have heard something, and if you share a bit of silver with me, I might share what I know.
Uh-oh.
I'm investigating a crime, not bartering for a chicken.
Well then, I'm sure you've got some silver on you. Just give it to me, and it'll be a done deal.
Yeah, but I'm cheap. How about a few days in the stocks? Uh-oh. I could do that. That will give me, right now we're 6. And then the coin. He's gonna want 50 coin. I'm not doing that. I don't have much coin. Huh. A burger sounds really good. I know, I just got done eating some pizza. Some boneless chicken parmesan wings and some stuffed crust cheese pizza. I felt like I just gained a few pounds. I need to start eating more healthier, to be honest. Ay, ay, ay. That is crazy. I'm surprised it's even like that, man.
Good then. How much were you imagining?
You already cost me a bit of my time. Now I want double.
That's quite a bit. Let's see.
Are you pulling my pizzle? Give me more, or get lost.
Ah, forget it. I'll find it myself.
Farewell.
Let me talk to him again.
I've reconsidered. We can still come to an agreement, can't we?
Really? That's not the way it looked before.
And what if I bashed your face in and had you dragged off to the stocks in Ratai?
No need for that.
There we go.
All I wanted was a bit of silver, and instead I get the whip.
Spit it out, will you?
Well, fine. I've heard that they're hiding him in some remote cottage at the edge of the forest on the way to Ushitz.
That didn't hurt too much now, did it?
God be with you.
Man, Ushitz, but I'm losing my reputation, though. What's with my reputation? Hold on. Oh, it's just my reputation in this town. I ain't worrying about it. All right, let's back it out, guys. Let's back it out. See what we got going on here. Okay, let's get the map out. We need to go into about no more. What the heck was Ushitz at? Those are just side missions. Hold on, let me talk to him again. Where was Ushitz again?
I've reconsidered. We can still come to an agreement, can't we?
Really? That's not the way it looked before.
Good then. How much were you imagining?
You already cost me a bit of my time. Now I want double.
That's quite a bit.
Are you pulling my...
Let's try again.
Are you pulling my pit?
Ah,
Farewell.
Okay, hold on. Let's back it out. All right, so he said Ushitz, but it's not here on my map. It's got to be somewhere in this fog. What's this? Let's give her. Well, we know it's in there. We might have to just explore it, guys. I don't think we're gonna have a choice here. Or is it gonna be north? How about we just head west and just kind of see where it takes us? We're gonna do that for now. Okay, let's go. Yeah, I'm just gonna continue heading west.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Oh gosh. Oh no, my camera blurred out. That's so crazy how you're over there, but
Yeah.
oh, what the heck?
Emberek, vigyázat!
Oh, you guys, really? What do you guys want? Okay, this is bad news, guys. I'm getting double teamed. Bad. All right, dang. Those guys are brutal. But how did it knock me off the horse is what I want to know. That was a big no-no, guys. That was a big no-no. Plus, it did kind of get me off guard.
Damn it all.
Right here? No. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I have to do all that again. You are out of your mind. Can I just skip all that and just go to the North Camp? Oh my dear jeez.
Hey,
This is truly messed up. So every time I get to a new location, guys, I'm gonna save and quit. I forgot about that. Dang it. That is so crucial. That is so not fair. I forgot we have to save and sleep, and I think there's like some kind of item we can use, but... Alright, let's see if... Can I fast... No, I can't fast travel. Oh, I gotta hold up. I didn't know that. There we go. Dang it, man. I mean, it wasn't that much, I guess, but it's still kind of annoying. Wait, what? Oh, okay, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay. Yeah, at least we know what to do now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm thinking though, Dragon, that's probably just like what kind of saved over from Fluxer. I'm thinking, I'm just gonna guess because it just seems like that's that's the only thing it could be. That could be the only outcome on that one. Which is kind of good actually because there were a lot of people that couldn't do anything with their diamonds, I guess. So now we'll see. All right, we gotta go here. We gotta talk to one of the... Can I talk to these guys on a horse? Or do I have to get off? We have to get off. Of course we do.
Good day.
Could you help me?
Depends what you want.
I'm looking for...
Sorry.
I have to find him.
Then what?
Then you're stopping me from catching a killer. Murder was committed in Neuhof, and I'm looking for a boy who fled the place shortly after. I certainly know something.
Calm down, lad. For the love of God. There's been no one like the boy you want round here. But
At least I'm not losing reputation though when I do it this way.
try them. You might want to hurry. You're not the first to be
Oh,
asked,
really? It is?
and the others weren't exactly a noble-looking bunch. Although they were.
Huh. That is interesting though.
They didn't happen to say what they wanted him for.
I wonder, I wonder if Goat has the like a website. I wonder if it has like a website, kind of like, I know Fluxer was kind of generic way, and then let me check something here really quick. Oh wow, I'm number 1 on there. Look at that. Wow, recommended. Oh, there's some weird gifts on here. What the heck? How come it won't let me comment? What the heck?
Do you have any idea where else he could have gone?
You said he was friends with the charcoal burners? Well, you'll definitely find some in the forest between Neuhof and Ujetz. There's good spots around there.
But that forest is huge. I could spend weeks searching.
Then follow the river. That's how you found us, isn't it? Where there's charcoal burners, there's always water nearby.
Oh, okay.
I'll go and ask somewhere else.
Good luck to you.
I get it. So Ushitz is gonna be near the river, guys. So we're gonna head up north, right? And then even when we go there, we're gonna go here. That's where we got attacked. Yeah, that's interesting. Surprisingly, it's running pretty smooth over there, so that's good. Does comments work for you over there, Dragon? Because I don't think it's working for me. I don't know what's going on. I'm on another account over there. It's not working. Alright, so we're just gonna head up north. Once I get to this camp or settlement or whatever, we're going to save the game. Alright, we're gonna try to run a little faster. And we're kind of leaving all this, so we're gonna... Oh no! There we go. What's this guy doing? Come on, move it quick, go, 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 go. Annihilation Cross? This will be where the other charcoal burners are, guys. Or is this the town I was just at? Yeah. Okay, okay, hold your horses. Easy, boy. Oh, they do show up there? Wait, are you commenting like now over there or no? You did say that the comments over there comes over here, so that might be, hold on, let me see something. Oh. That is interesting. I don't like being in these woods too much, guys. These woods could be dangerous. We could be walking into like a camp like we did earlier and get butchered. What happened over here? Oh, it's just a tree stump. This part kind of makes me think of like the Lorax, like the broken trees. Don't tell me these guys are sleeping already. Of course they are. I wonder if there's a area where I can sleep. Hold on, is there like an extra bed somewhere? Right here, sleep and save. Now this is gonna make my character hungry though. See, I had all my energy, nourishment, everything. It's about to go down. Well, actually, the only thing going down is nourishment. We'll just have to eat again, that's all. So we should be fine. But when you leave and come back, they show up. Oh, let me try that then. I don't know why it's not working for me. Dragon, I hope you've been okay, bro. Honestly, dude. Honestly, we need a game sometime. Like, we really need to collaborate and just game sometime. Like, either both live or just one of us live, and or I don't even care if you're just live and I just play the games with you. I know I see you do a lot of Fortnite, so I'll have to kind of see what games you play. Maybe I'll do some Fortnite just to kind of mess around, but I'm definitely not a pro at the game, so if you don't mind a non-professional on the team.
Good day to you.
Let's talk to these guys real quick.
Is anyone here?
That boy from...
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, he's not. May the Lord watch over him.
This is the guy I need to talk to.
Good day to you.
I'm looking for Jim.
I know him.
There's a few questions.
Well, he'll have to go somewhere else to find...
If you're hiding...
I understand you.
And where can I find them?
Head west along the river and you'll run into them. Oh, and another thing you might like to know. Other people have been sniffing around here for him.
Where did they go?
Oh, they headed off. Farewell.
Alright, so they headed west. So here's what I'm going to do. Now that we did all that, I'm going to save the game, right? We're going to sleep for 1 hour. So we can get the game saved real quick. All right, so we get that 1 hour here, guys, which is good. Whoa. So the game should be saved now, guys. But we're going to play it safe. We're going to do save and quit. And that just completely logs me out the... Wow. Bear with me there, guys. Bear with me there. All right, we're going to try this again. Yeah, I don't know why the comments ain't working for me. It's so weird. Honestly, I have no idea. Don't know what's going on there. All right, so the game is loading in now, which is good. All right, there we go. Let's continue it up. At least now we're not gonna have to do all that walking. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it is kind of annoying. I completely forgot about that. Okay, now that we're here, we're gonna want to just continue on west. But when we went that way, that's where the trouble was. There we go. All right, let's continue onward, guys. We probably want to go this way. There we go. We're almost there. I just love how we just like climb over bushes. Beautiful landscape though.
Yeah.
Okay.
God be.
I'm looking for
Gingy.
Yes, have you seen?
Let me.
Really? Because your neighbours told me they know Ginger and that he comes to visit you.
You can't believe everything you hear. They probably just wanted to get rid of you.
I've no reason not to believe them. I'm investigating the massacre at Neuhof, and that boy knows something about it. I have to talk to him, damn it.
All right. But first you have to prove you're on the right side.
How?
There's been 2 armed men wandering around asking about Ginger. Cutthroats by the look of them. Get rid of them, and we'll let you see Ginger.
Wow. You know what? Why not?
All right, I'll deal with them.
Let's go for it.
I'm glad to hear it. I'd say they're somewhere between here and our neighbors upstream. There's a place there where poachers used to meet before we came here, but it's abandoned now. The path to it leads straight from the stream. Try looking around there.
All right, I'll have a look there. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
God be with you, good sir. You know something about Ginger?
That fellow is in with them.
I might have heard something. And if you share a bit of silver with me, I might
If he
share
really
what I
is
know.
one of his lordship's men, maybe he could...
That depends. What do you want in return?
A bit of silver never hurt anybody.
That story about
Oh, I
30
doubt
pieces
it.
of silver didn't have a
Common
happy
thieves
ending.
wouldn't be clever
Well,
enough
then it
come
will
up
have
with
to
a
be
lie
more
like
than
that.
30.
Only they ain't no
Try
common, are
convincing.
they? They're robbers and murderers and as crafty as foxes.
True enough. Let's pray he's not one of them.
How do I know how much silver I have?
Agree?
You won't convince me with that. Not bad, not bad. Listen up. Ginger has two mates. Twins who are keeping him hidden and taking care of him. They go out every day to bring him something to eat.
Where do they take the food?
I don't know. I didn't follow them. Why would I?
Thank you. That's helpful.
Farewell.
Okay, well, at least we got some information here, and these guys are definitely making me hungry with this pot, so I need to eat from it. Yeah, that'll help my nourishment there a little bit. Okay, so if we check the map here, it looks like we're going to be checking this area. Kill the bandits. We got some bandits we need to kill. Alright, we still never found Ushich yet, though, so what I need to do to be safe... The rain looks nice. We're going to go ahead and just... You know what? I'm going to play it safe. Where's the sleeping... I think there's one in here. Doesn't say sleep and save though. Screw that. Alright, we're just gonna hit save and quit again, I guess. Oh, that's so annoying. I hate doing this, guys. You ain't got a choice. I gotta save it up real quick to make sure it's safe. While that loads, I'm gonna stretch real quick. Ugh. Alright, we're loading it now. Let's continue it up. This would be much better. Now we can actually have the game saved, so if we die this time, guys, we don't have to go all the way. Alright. Take my horse with me, but I think if I go far away, I wonder if my horse would go... Alright, we're in the region, but they said the horse or the bandits can be somewhere around here. Okay. So I gotta take out 2 bandits, guys. Oh gosh. We'll follow this path here for a bit. Hey, get off of me! What the hell? Oh, get him off! How do I get him off? He weakens my stamina. Okay, the dog is down. 3 archers. These guys are all archers. I gotta take them out quick. I need some stamina here. Let him go disarm, have him pay to be released.
Sure, I'll let you go as soon as you pay up. Hear me? Groschen, you piece of shit. Every last coin you have.
Jó, csak várjál. Legközelebb miszlik be a prittolok.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna get rich with this. Have him pay to be released.
Pay up right now, understand? Coin. Groschen.
What's up, Solid? Oh, we back at it, bro. Yeah, I'm getting rich off these guys. You guys can fight me more often. You guys are like giant elves trying to attack me out in the woods. What's wrong with you guys? I had to kill their dog. Dog lard, dog meat? Yeah, I'm gonna eat some dog meat. Ah, I'm overcumbered again. Hold on, inventory. What do we want here? We have, I forgot that we had different swords. We can... I'm using that? I'm using like a machete. Why don't I use an actual sword? That would give me more damage, though. Alright, let's go to weapons real quick. Yeah, let's switch it with that. That's gonna help big time. We'll keep this for backup. Armor, I think armor... I think we want to wear that, right? Okay. Alright, so we're gonna... I think we're good with that part. So we need to just... So now I got a better sword out. Oh yeah, now I got a real sword. Alright, try to use equipment that demands better abilities than you have now, so its effective is greatly lowered. You can find out exactly what it does. Oh, my horse just comes out of nowhere. Wow, look at that. Item info. Alright, well, we need to get rid of some stuff here, guys. Whatever's bulky on us right now. How do we know what weighs what again? Hold on. Oh, wait, 0.2. I'm 103, guys. Oh, gosh. We'll keep that. We do need to cook some hare meat, though. That'll help us out big time. Yeah, I don't like how we fall off the horse every time we get attacked or something. Galley up. Alright, hold on a second. Let's see here. Back on the map. Gotta be something around here.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody's near us, guys, watching us.
Yeah.
Look at me with the sword all ready and everything. All right, we're gonna go down a little more and then go right. They gotta be somewhere. Let's keep our eyes open, guys. Okay, so we're back at this bridge part again. Let's keep going down.
Yeah.
All right, so where are you guys? Where are these bandits, guys? We are looking for bandits. I really don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
They gotta be somewhere, though. Definitely not out here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, come on. Where are you guys at? You gotta be somewhere. I know you're somewhere.
Yeah.
They're in the woods. Or were those the guys I took out? We're gonna do this the easy way. Check our quest here. Ginger Guardian said that I deal with the bandits who are looking around. They'll tell me where the ginger is. Okay. Well, how am I supposed to... Well, we're leveling up our horse, so that's always good, right? It's got to be right near where those guys were. Maybe I should have took them out.
Yeah.
We're back on the trail again.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you little bandits. I know you're in these woods. I'm gonna find you. We're gonna hunt them down. How about we play it safe? Make sure we save it up and make sure everything's okay, guys. We need to make sure everything's gonna be okay. I hate that we gotta keep doing it this way, but this is better than starting all over again, that's for sure. Oh!
Charles the Fourth.
Charles the Fourth. All right, we're loading in, which is good. All right, we're loaded in. Let's keep looking for these guys. They got to be somewhere, guys. But where, though? Okay, so we're on this part of the map. Maybe just follow the river, maybe? Down here? Maybe they're in that little tiny camp that's right here, guys. How much you guys want to bet they're probably like right there? I think we're gonna check that out. You guys don't see that cursor? No, you don't. Oh, thought you did. All right. Yep. We're gonna go ahead and head this way. Right? This was the way? No, not to the right. This way.
Yeah.
Did a little bit to the right, guys. Yeah, so we didn't really check this direction. Because the last time we had a mission like this, it was a little bit at like the border or on the edge of where the highlighted section was. So it's maybe it'll be the same this time. Oh, way off. Make it right. Should be like a little camp around here, maybe. Oh, this is where we went hunting before. Oh, that's out of the question.
Yeah.
It's got to be something around here, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're on the hunt to murder 2 bandits, and I can't even find these guys. I'm removing some clouds, which is good. We got to get these clouds out of here. Lock a bunch of regions.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's got to be something. Let's try left. Yeah, we're gonna try this way. Where were those guys that attacked us? I don't think we were supposed to spare them.
Yeah.
Maybe around here somewhere? Oh, I found a little camp. Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump out the horse here real quick. I know this is annoying, guys, but hold on. All right, we're at this little camp thingy. All right, we're gonna launch it again, and we should be good. Oh gosh. Blah, 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 blah. Whoopsie daisy. All right, there we go. What's up, Pro Design? How are you? All right, let's get back. So we saved the game again. Should be a lot better for us this time, guys. And we're ready to get started in. Let's go. No more this is gonna take it up. We're gonna find this person, and we gotta find Ginger, because Ginger is somewhere hiding. And we sort of know where he is. I'm not getting any audio. You guys getting audio? No, we're not. That's a weird glitch. Try that again. That was weird. That was very weird. We need to figure out what caused this to happen. Deep silver. How deep is it? Is it deep enough? Alright. We're loading in, guys. Do you know how bad I would love to keep 120 refresh rate or FPS the entire time, or 144 or whatever? Like, that would just be tremendously awesome. Even with an 8700K and a 1080 Ti, my computer struggles at keeping such high refresh rate. So like, I can only imagine what type of rig you would really need if you really wanted to push that high amount of frames. All right, so we got the audio back, which is great. We're gonna go ahead and see what's going on over here. Put the weapon away for now. We discovered a camp. I don't know if these are good guys or bad guys, but we got to be very careful and cautious here. I'm gonna be guessing these guys are gonna be bad guys. We can kind of hear what they're saying a little bit. Not entirely, but just a little bit. We can hear what's going on there. All right, so where is that other guy going?
What's the matter, laddie?
I'm gonna draw you away from your buddy. So if we got to fight, we're going one-on-one, bro.
Greetings, my good man. May I ask you a question?
Ask first, then I'll ask you something.
Uh-oh.
Good then. We're looking for Ginger, a stable boy at a nearby stud farm. Have you seen him anywhere?
Uh-oh.
I don't know anyone called that. I'm not even from this part of the country.
What a shame. We're worried about him, but we can't seem to find him.
Truly, I haven't seen him. If I were you, I'd ask the charcoal burners.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for your advice.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something wrong here.
What's going on? What's it to be?
Well, let me talk to him.
What's up? Do you need some help?
I don't know, guys. I don't know if these guys are really trying to kill Ginger or they're trying to capture him or what. But they seem a bit odd. But I feel like taking these guys out could be a bad idea. I'm gonna draw him away from his buddy.
Is someone there?
Oh, the AI is crazy. Luckily, they didn't attack me. Dude, get your weapons out. Wow, that just happened. Whoa.
You'll get what for.
Oh, okay.
I'll slaughter you.
Okay, not good. How do I change targets? Come here. Wow.
Gone weak at the knees, have you?
Okay. Wow. Oh! These guys are strong. What happened to my stamina? My stamina just kind of disappeared on me. Wow, the other guy just kind of booked it. I don't understand. There's like no one hit, like slice the throat type of deal going on. I almost took that guy out too. Oh, block it, dude. Restore that stamina.
Come on.
Is that all you've got?
Oh my god, these guys are really strong. Okay, this is not working. I wish I had like stronger arrows, but up and switching in this game, it ain't happening. So maybe we're just not supposed to engage the way we are. Trying to get the early advantage on them, but it's not working.
You'll get what for.
Is that the best you can do?
Yo, I blocked. What? Wow.
Weak at the knees, have you? You call that combat? I'll find you, you cur. You can't hide from me.
Yo, hold on. They're right there. This is my chance to get them. Oh, did I really just unequip my long range bow? Oh my dear jeez.
Come here, Lily Liver. So you're the shooter. Now you're in deep shit.
Wow.
You can...
Come on. Come on, a little more. Wow, totally just missed that.
Come on. Where could he have vanished to?
Hey, you don't see me. Come on, one more hit and you're down, buddy.
I'll slug.
So they are bandits though, so they have to be bad. Okay, so the bandits are gone. All right, let's get back in his horse and let's head back. I don't know if that was a good decision or not, but I guess we're gonna find out here. Go back here to this camp. Go to A.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Before we go doing all that, let's stop right here for a second. First of all, we're gonna eat. Let's sleep, sleep. But there's no Alright, we'll sleep for an hour, see what happens. I recover, I guess, some health and energy, right? Health is down quite a bit. Let's get back on this horse here real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a little deery deer. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, charcoal burners. I took out the bandits. I feel like... I hope we did the right thing. I hope we did. I don't know if we did or not, guys, but we're gonna find out here. But I think either way, at least we'll get gender. If this guy is not lying. My luck, he's gonna give me another location. He's gonna like, yeah, he's gonna be southeast of whatever. There we go. Right here. Alright, let's jump off.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I dealt with the
Don't have
bandits.
to worry about those bandits anymore. I've dealt with them.
Really? And I suppose I have to take your word for it.
If you want proof, I can take you to them. Maybe I should have brought you their heads.
I'll take your word for it. All right, a bargain's a bargain. Ginger is hiding out in a ruined hut not far from here. You go along the road to Ujits until you see a path to the right that leads to a small spring. There's an overgrown path that leads from there right to where Ginger is. Keep your eyes peeled, though. You could easily miss it.
Good. Thanks for your help.
Farewell.
Okay. Well, here we go, guys. I think we're almost about to get this guy finally. Ooh, shits. Oh, he's right there. He is not that far at all.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Follow this trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's turn it around because we're obviously not going to fit between there. Oh, this is it right here. So why is he hiding so much? I'm gonna grab these bad boys real quick. We'll take some of those. Okay.
It's not my fault. There was nothing I could have done to help. I was frozen solid. I couldn't even open my mouth. I couldn't even get a peep out. They would have killed me if I'd said anything. I couldn't stop what happened. I'm not to blame.
Wow. He's automatically jumping straight to conclusions. Let's talk to him.
Jesus, you've led me a merry dance.
What do you want from me?
I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why did you run off like that? Where are your cronies? And why did you kill that bandit?
What?
Right, one thing at a time.
Okay, why did you run? Where are your cronies? Why did you kill that bandit? Tell me everything that happened. First, why did you run?
Why did you run off in such a hurry?
Because I was afraid they'd come back and kill me.
Who?
Those bandits, of course.
To get revenge on you for killing their mate?
Killing? Me? I never killed anyone. God is my witness.
I'm looking for your friends. Where are they?
The charcoal burners? They're over at the...
To hell with the charcoal burners. Where are your bandit mates?
They're not my mates. They nearly killed me. I recognized one of them, so I thought they'd come back and...
Recognized? Who was it? Talk!
I don't know his name, only that he's from Ushets, and he has a limp.
From Ushets, and he has a limp. Okay.
What can you tell me about him? How do you know him?
I saw him a few times in the tavern in Ushets, playing dice and boozing.
And?
I know he lives in a house on the edge of the village, but that's all I know. I never talked to him.
Well, that's not very good. Why did you kill that bandit? Tell me everything that happened. I know enough. I'll leave now.
Why did you kill that bandit?
What? Bandit? I never killed anyone.
This is yours, isn't it? I pulled it from the belly of a dead bandit near the stud farm.
That is mine, but I didn't stab him. That fellow took it from me.
What fellow?
I don't know his name, but he's from Ushets, and he has a limp.
He limps and he's from Ushets. That's not much to go on, but I suppose it'll have to do.
It's all I know. I never talked to him.
So Limp said he's from Ushets. Okay, well, then we're going to have to look for that then.
And now tell me exactly what happened. And don't leave anything out.
That's quite a long story.
Don't worry, I won't get bored.
All right. I woke up in the middle of the night because I needed to go for a piss. So I went out into the dark, same as usual, only there was something there that shouldn't have been. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, but it wasn't. Then it was too late. They went past and I thought they must be horse thieves. I would have yelled, only I was afraid they'd kill me. So I waited until they were out of sight and I started to sneak away, but then...
Then the slaughtering started.
Yes. I thought they'd steal the horses and ride off. That would be bad enough, but then all the killing started and flames everywhere. It was terrible, like hell itself.
And then?
It seemed some of them didn't like it either. They started squabbling among themselves, and some of them started running back where they came from, right towards me. And I had that thing in my hand, the hoof pick.
So you stabbed the first one in the belly?
No. He ran right into me. He was running fast for a fellow with a limp. He pushed me aside and I fell on the ground. Then he told me I'd better lie low if I valued my life. And he ran off with the others. And I did what he said and hid. Then the rest of the gang ran past.
And then?
Then I waited in case that limping one from Ushits came back. I didn't dare come out until I was sure. I think it was almost light.
Wow, what about the others? What did they quarrel about?
What about the others? Was there anything you noticed about them?
I don't know. There might have been maybe 8 of them, and 2 of them were really big. That's all I can remember.
Do you know what they argued about?
I didn't hear everything, but I reckon some of them were only there to steal and wanted no part in the killing.
Wow.
That sounds terrible. I know exactly how you feel.
If only I yelled. Maybe they...
If you had, you'd most likely be dead. It probably wouldn't have done any good anyway.
But still...
There was nothing you could do. That's all.
Okay, tell me everything that happened. I know enough. I'll leave now. All right, looks like we're just gonna go ahead and head up out of here now,
I've heard
guys.
everything I need to hear, so I'll leave you be.
Wait! What about me? Won't you help me out?
Perhaps I could. What would you like?
I'd like to go back to the stud farm, but those cutthroats who want to kill me are still around. Will you help me?
They're out of the way. I ran into them on my travels.
Really? That's great, but
What?
I'm afraid to go back to the farm. I ran away, and God knows what they'll think about it all. I don't know if they'll even want to talk to me.
I could go and ask them if it's important to you.
Would you? You'll definitely have their respect, the way you took care of those cutthroats.
So what is he gonna do? He's gonna stay out here until he's ready? All right. Well, at least we finally found Ginger, which is good. Where do we need to go? Not too bad. We could fast travel though, to be honest. It's gonna be nighttime though when we do that, but it's all good. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore that. Screw that. Go to my objective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my men are like just still here, just hanging out. Like, what the heck? Let me go in there with my horse. All right, let's go ahead and see what's up with this town. Oh, we can only pickpocket. We don't want to do that.
Good afternoon.
I found Ginger. He begged me to ask if he can return, man.
Why should I take him back? It might be his fault I had to bury my husband.
What?
Why else would he flee but guilt? The men said they didn't see him in bed. He didn't have a clean conscience because he gave those murderers a signal.
That's not true. He fled because one of the attackers recognized him and Ginger was afraid he'd come back and kill him.
Those are just excuses. He wouldn't dare come back.
But they came back the very same day. If he hadn't run, they'd have killed him and everyone else.
Why would they do that?
Why not? They'd already murdered several people. Why not a few more?
And now I'm supposed to take him back? What if they come back for him and kill one of my daughters in the process?
The cutthroats who were after him have been taken care of. And the rest have no reason to return here.
And what about for revenge? I can't take him back.
Let's come to an agreement. I'm sorry to bring him bad news. All right.
I understand your concerns, but you just need to ask Sir Hanish to leave you a guard. Those bandits might be willing to take on a few stable boys, but not an armed soldier.
I'd definitely feel better if someone was here a few days to keep watch.
It can be arranged. I'm sure Sir Bernard won't object.
Good then. Let the lad come back again. Take care.
Okay, good. So he can come back. Are you brushing my shoes? Really? Are you trying to say I'm dirty? Well, what's he doing here?
Greetings. What business have you?
My lord, I managed to find a clue to the whereabouts of the bandits.
Excellent. Bernard already told me what's been happening, but I'd like to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
The whole story, or just the gist of it, sir?
It's up to you what you consider important.
We'll do the whole story.
One of the Neuhoff stable boys, a lad they called Ginger, fled from there and hid out with some charcoal burners. I have to say, there's a lot of them around. I never thought how many forges and ironworks they have to supply.
That's true, but keep to the point.
Oh, yes, sir. I had quite a job finding him. He was well hidden and with good reason. The bandits wanted to kill him because he recognised one of them.
Did he tell you what happened?
He said it wasn't one gang, but two. And one of them took fright when the slaughter started. Seems they were only interested in loot, so they quarrelled with the other lot. Then it came to a skirmish in the woods and one of them was killed. The rest of them scattered.
And did you find out where they went?
All I know is one of them is from Ujits. I know enough about him to be able to track him down.
All right, but those cutthroats must know who he is too, right? And if they want to get revenge on him or silence him, you'd better hope they don't get to him before you. So drop everything and get on his trail. Find out what he knows and then report back to me. I'm going to our encampment at Merhaya to oversee the security of the region.
Yes, sir.
May the Lord watch over you.
Oh, I just got some groschen for that.
Jesus Christ be praised. Good luck to you.
Okay, so I gotta go back up there again. Oh, Ushitz is way up there. We need to get more of these fast travel thingies. But it looks like they're only in the main towns. Wow. This place stays dark, like the clouds stay. All right, so we made it here, which is good. I'm glad we got a horse that just comes out of nowhere. It's so perfect. And I think the horse, too, I could put stuff on it. All right, so we're going to want to go with the A is. Uh-oh. What the heck happened here?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the objective, guys. We'll just take a shortcut.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just go through the woods. Why not? I like how this is like an open trail here. All right, here we go. Wow, what is this? Oh, We just got like a house in the middle of nowhere. Oh, they just keep the hay here. Alrighty then. So we're finally gonna make it to Ushitz. I think this is it, guys. Wow, it's gonna be a pretty big place. Find out where the limping bandit lives. Oh gosh. Let's get off the horse for now. We could just call it from anywhere, really, so I ain't gonna worry about it too much. See what's up.
going on?
See what's up with these guys.
My respects to you, sir. I'm looking for a fellow who lives here, but I don't know his name. Do you know anyone with a limp?
What would you want with him? Well, it's no skin off my nose. The bastard has a cottage on the edge of the village, by the road to Rattay. Good luck to you.
By the road to Rattay. Okay, so right down there. Wow, we asked the first guy and we already got the first answer.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I'm looking for a fellow who lives here, but I don't know his name. Do you know anyone with a limp?
Aye, there is one fellow with a limp. Can't imagine what you want with the likes of him, but that's your affair. He lives in a cottage on the edge of the village by the road to Neuhof. Farewell.
Whoa. Yep. Something definitely going down here. We're gonna save and quit. And then we're gonna relaunch it again and find out what the heck is going on here, guys. Not good. Not good. Dum bum 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 bum. Alright, let's continue it up real quick. Alright, so we're here now, guys. I'm scared to even see what's gonna happen here. Uh-oh.
Move along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
That's what you call nothing to see. I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's Captain Bernard. I'm investigating the attack at Neuhof, and I think this could be related.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhof?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him.
Wow. What?
Sakra. Nothing's ever easy. have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
Alright. Who was Limpy Limboosh? When was the body found?
Who was Limpy Lubosh?
A poor crofter and a scoundrel. Can't say I'm too surprised what happened to him. He kept company with all sorts of vermin. He was always getting into some kind of trouble. Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
Oh.
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Just now. And nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
Good evening.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time, and then yesterday he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never saw him do that before. Probably had a bad conscience.
We gotta talk to the priest.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home. I didn't see him all day.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Goodbye. Good God, what happened to your clothes? If you were robbed, you should report it.
Come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask away.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
He was a drunkard and a beast. And lazy, too. Idle hands are the devil's tools.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
The only thing seemed suspicious was how a rogue like him suddenly started going to church. Now I see why, of course.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
What do I care about that scoundrel? I was glad he stayed out of my way.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
He was always a loner. Except lately he started talking to the parish priest of all people.
That's all. Thank you.
Good luck then.
My respects to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course. Ask away.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much. But I wouldn't wish an end like that on any man.
True. That was a pretty,
Noticed anything suspicious recently?
pretty nasty murder.
Now I think of it, I hadn't seen him around for a while. No idea where he was skulking.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
He was a loner. He didn't even have any mates in the tavern.
Interesting.
Thank you.
God be with you.
Good health to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know anything about it, but ask all you want.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Have you noticed anything suspicious
It
recently?
looks like we're about to go see the priest, guys. It looks like that's what we need to do here.
Church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to.
Testing.
To take to the faith all of a sudden? But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
I don't think we're lagging or anything, right? I hope we're okay. Looks like the audio might be acting kind of weird.
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a glimpse of someone entering the village. He looked like he was in a hurry. It was only a shadow against the sky, but after what happened, I wouldn't wonder.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern next to us sometimes, but he never said much.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, so we talked to all the people that was in the front line here.
Good day to you. What do you need? God be with you.
Yeah, I think we got all the dialogues we need here, guys.
Good day to you. What do you need?
Man, what a day, guys. What a day. All right, so we got to find out where the priest was. This is where the guy got murdered. Can I go inside? Oh, wow. Yeah, I need to do something about my clothes. So what if we close this door? Let's take out our torch here, guys, so we can see what's going on here. Let's check around the rooms. Maybe we can find something. Okay, why are you in here? Yeah, we'll eat real quick. Why not?
Good luck then.
She. How can you just like hang out in here while someone's hanging on the wall? What does it say? Man, they nailed him his arms to the wall. Unbelievable, man. That's crazy. Oh, this would just be robbing things. We don't want to do that.
Nothing here.
It says something about Reed. Oh, Ed?
What's this? Looks like someone's hit him very hard on the head. Could they have bludgeoned him to death and then gutted him? That would explain why he didn't scream.
True. Or so?
Lord above, they did a hell of a job on him. Must have been agony. How come no one heard anything? An inscription in blood. It's a pity I don't know how to read. Looks like they wanted to give someone a warning. But who? And a bandit who knows how to write isn't something you see every day.
True. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's go ahead and head up out of here then. All right, so we need to find out where the priest is. Oh gosh, we're gonna be here for a while. Well, we know where Ushitz is now, and we do have a fast travel, which is perfect. So it looks like we're just gonna have to continue north, guys.
Mother of God, you look like you've been assaulted. God bless.
Yeah, I need to do something about my clothing here, guys. These guys are like thinking I'm crazy. Well, how are we looking anyway on Groshin and stuff? Let's take a look. I got 436. Wow, that's the most I've had in a while. Let's see, I don't have much I can move items to horse, really? Let me sort these actually. What? January. The 5th? Yep. 5th. Yep.
New moon.
There's a new moon? Wow.
Wait, hold on.
Yep, we're in 2020, buddy. You're a year behind.
Yeah.
The horse actually gets to carry inventory. It leveled up a little bit, so that's a lot better. A lot better than what it was, guys. Alright, let's continue on. We're gonna go ahead and just run on up. Fast point bar point travel point bound, which is perfect. I love those things because I don't like walking so much.
God be with you.
Alright, give me just a moment, guys. Sorry about that. Gotta help out the little one really quick. Alright, let's end this dialogue here really quick. Game Prodigy, what's going on? How are you? I love it too. I think it's a really... I'm making a mess. Oopsie daisy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely making a mess here. Yo, how's that warships going for you, man? Have you counted how many ships you've taken down? I bet you took out a lot by now. That's exactly what you do, right, Game Prodigy? Every time you play War of Warships, you just be like... Love it. Absolutely amazing. Alright, I gotta figure out where we're going here, guys, because I really have no idea. Oh, shoot. What the... Hold on, something just happened.
My respects to you. Farewell.
God be with you.
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
Indeed there is. Just last night, Father Godwin was here, calling fire and brimstone down on old Gertrude, the herb woman. He's not one to make a fuss over some trifle either. Oh, and another thing. Around here, you should hear about what Vashek the groom has been up to at the stables. When the head groom told the lads here, they fell off their seats laughing.
All right, then. What about a place to sleep?
Got bed for the night.
Aye, there's room here. For how long?
Just the one night?
No problem, but you pay in advance.
Nah, we don't need to stay really.
That's too much. I'll have to think it over.
Suit yourself. Take care now.
Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and head on over to the priest here real quick, guys. Oh, I think it's right here. I think we found it. Okay. Door is wide open, which is perfect. I think he's sleeping.
No, my God. No, let me sleep.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father.
Oh, wow.
I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Okay.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son. And one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Wow.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances. And this is one of them.
You can't hurt him now. You could be condemning innocent people to death. I'll get that confession out of you by force. We'll try this one. This one, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is better.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can. Because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
I see.
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
The Lord watch over you.
Oh, that was a very up-close conversation. Alrighty then. So now we have to go to the tavern. Oh, there he is right there, but he's moving along. Okay, man, he's out here barefooted too. Look at him.
The blessings of our Lord be...
And with you, lad. Take a seat.
Okay, take a seat. We're not even at the tavern yet.
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. But maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh. I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
You think I'm too young for the job, Father?
I do, to tell the truth.
Well, I can only apologize for my lack of grey hair and gout.
Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noel? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumors aren't exaggerated
Wow.
this time.
Okay.
The Neuhoff stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarreled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But, first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. A tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them. are popular as well, especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the Church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
There you go.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. It's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Okay. Cheers.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł dziesnej smutek, do dnie no i rano utek, jakiś małżeński majstrat, do wczera żylne staje brak. Už sejmoj svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jí kůži, nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požadem si huby jako poslední den. Můj se baví, panorama slávy a pak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem, tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra jen tu jsou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned a skočí se zjet. Ty dneska vůbec nikdo neví, zase zítra Ježíš
Enough of this!
Uh-oh.
Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can ride is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out. Oh.
Uh-oh. Maybe I shouldn't drink.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
We're in trouble.
You.
Oh!
Oh dear. Did that?
Why are they grabbing onto me like that? Oh! Win the tourney if you can?
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dears. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin, you're a buffoon.
Yeah, I'm a little boozed up right now. Ooh, we're in a private area. Not good.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Oh my god, he's thrown up inside of a church.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Has mounted up. What do you say, Henry?
I did not expect this.
A little ride of our own.
Well, when things like that happens, we'll do this so you guys can't see it. Oopsie daisy. Okay, never mind. It's over. I need to make a hotkey for that. Yep, definitely. Okay, so we're still... The heck did we drink? Oh, I think we see them right there.
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
He's still throwing up. Wow.
Godwin, you beast. Get up. Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards.
Oh, fuck it out. Where the...
Wait, what happened, Greg?
Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry.
2 1s in it?
Great friend, Henry.
Huh.
And we have a wonderful time.
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Wow, this priest has a good time.
My guts. My poor suffering stomach.
Wow.
What was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What?
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege.
Oh boy.
Studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh.
Oh gosh.
How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
What? Oh boy. Well, that's not very good. The confessional seal isn't sacred anymore. We'll never get away with this. Alright, but I can't guarantee the results.
So all at once the confessional seal isn't so sacred?
Don't mock me. I won't give you a second chance.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Well, alright. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
Oh my god, Black Panther, thank you for those. I really appreciate it.
What's the matter with you? We have to start mass. It's already late.
Okay, I need to save the game. Yeah, we definitely need to save the game here right now, guys. We actually went pretty far along with this, but I think we're gonna have to actually go ahead and end this up and save it for another session. All right, so let's close this off. Episode number 6, I believe, right? I think that's what we were on right now, but yeah. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you for everything. You guys have a great session, or not a great session, but you guys have a wonderful night. I know it's what, 9:48 right now p.m. for me. Maybe I'll do a mobile stream. I don't know. I know we've been kind of going live a lot, and I need to cut it down. We're gonna have to really go back down to 3 days a week, guys, and start using our time for something else. And just to see what we can do here. All right, well, with that being said, I'm out of here. Thank you for everything. Black Panther, have a great night. Thank you so much for the love and support, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the contributions. Don't forget that we are definitely doing a gift card giveaway here soon, guys. So if you guys don't know much about it, I'll go ahead and type it for you guys in chat. Let me just let me do this real quick so that way I can get you guys going. Let me get you guys a link, and then yeah, we'll be good to go. All right, so where are we at here? Okay. Why didn't that work? Why is it not working? Why did it not work? I don't get it. Enabled, right? Not even executing. Alright, we'll get that in there for you guys so everybody can kind of get an idea what we're doing here. Alright, well, that's it for me. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.